want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got the best for so much less. You really flip your lid.
From bikes to trains to video games, it's the biggest toy store there is.
Gee whiz!
I don't want to grow up, 'cause baby, if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid. More games, more toys. Oh boy, I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
What's up? We're here at Toys R Us. It's the end.
The end of Toys R Us.
The end of an era. So me and Travis came out to just kind of reminisce, to talk about a store from our childhood. Maybe more so me than you.
Yeah,
you were kind of.
I was at Toys R Us. I think Toys R Us is where my dad bought me my Xbox, my original Xbox.
That is where I got my original
Yeah.
Xbox, was Toys R Us
Yeah,
too.
and that was my first console I got new out of the box. Like
Yeah.
I got my N60. Well, I guess my brother and my sister and me got our N64. We were always a generation behind.
Yeah.
So like 2004, my dad bought me an original Xbox for $100 up at a Toys R Us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that very much.
Yeah, so I got my first Game Boy, the original Game Boy. This is how old
Was
I
it
am.
even a color or just Game Boy?
It was clear.
Oh,
I
wow.
had a clear, like, see-through Game Boy. And what's weird is, like, it wasn't until recently that I tried to find online. I was like, I remember getting that from Toys R Us in a clear box.
Oh, wow.
It was clear, like the Game Boy was in there, and then it was a clear box. And I went online because I was like, what was the actual box? That's what it came in. The box had nothing on it. It just was like...
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
I saw other people that had that, so I don't know if there was like, I think there might have been like cardboard like wrapping around it or something,
Yeah.
and we just tore it off and threw that all away. But yeah, I kind of I can't get the sign. I might get it on the way out, but there's a sign over there. But like, man, this is not the one I used to go to, but there was one here in the Cincinnati area that I went to as a kid, and as a child, walking into something like Toys R Us was like unlike anything else, because
Yeah.
it was like rows and rows of intimidating, like rows of like, this whole store is toys.
Yeah,
because you'd have to go.
it's Christmas Day. In a
Yeah,
store.
you'd have to go to the store with your parents and stuff. Oh, we're going clothes shopping, and you play around in like the clothes racks. But like going to Toys R Us was like unbelievable.
Every aisle was filled with stuff that you'd
Yeah.
be into and interested
Yeah, yeah.
in.
So, yeah, there was so that store closed in like around the recession, a little bit before the recession. But I think the last thing I got there was the Xbox.
Yeah.
So that was like 2005. So it was at least open till then. A funny story with the original Xbox. I don't know if I've told the story, or I don't know if you know about the story.
I don't think so.
I had Halo 2 pre-ordered in Toys R Us, and I had the limited edition or whatever.
Oh, the
And I
silver
had,
one.
Yeah. And I hadn't really like pre-ordered a lot of stuff, and I was like 13 at the time. And my dad came with me and brought me there. We go up to the front counter. You know, here's the receipt or whatever you had to bring. Can I get my limited edition Halo 2? Oh, yeah, we sold that. We sold your copy. And my dad's with me, and this is the kind of person my dad is. Like, he's so persuasive, or not persuasive, but he'll just like, he's able to get what he wants. But also, like, he played this so cool. Like, looking up to my dad back then, like him doing this. He said, hey, oh, you sold his copy? Okay. Zach, go pick out a controller. And I went and found an original Xbox controller. It was this little mini one or whatever. And I come back and he's like, all right, we'll take this. This is what, to make it right, we'll take this controller. And my dad, like, got them to give them a controller in place of that. Cause I just thought that was so
that's
cool.
great.
Like, no, you're not going to screw us over. Like,
Yeah, that's
you messed
awesome.
this up.
That's awesome.
Do you have any, like, stories of getting, like, an item? Like, you got the Xbox and stuff you said. Was there,
Yeah.
like, something that you remember?
I remember it was like the top spin Xbox, so
Yeah.
it had like the people with the tennis rackets on the front.
Yeah.
And I did not have
Oh, yeah, was it
money.
Top Spin?
Yeah, I was not allowed to get Halo at that time because my mom thought it was too violent.
Yeah.
And it was too bloody. So we were like, well, what do we want to play? What do we want to get? And we go in and we start looking at the games, and I can't afford any of these games. Like, they're all like $50 back then or whatever. But there was one game that was $20.
Yeah.
and I'd never played it before. But I was like, oh, well, I could buy this, and I ended up buying ESPN NFL 2K5,
Oh, and that's
which
one of
is
the best.
now that is the best football game ever made,
Yeah.
and it's one of my favorite games still to this day. So I went home with that, and we played
Yeah.
the heck out of that game. And then later that week, I remember I got together some Game Boy games. Game Boy Advance games. I didn't play anymore because that was N64 was my main console, then Game Boy Advance, and then I got a Xbox. I got together some of my Game Boy Advance games I didn't play a lot anymore, like Lego City and different stuff. I was like, or Lord of the Rings, and I got them together, and I had a $20 bill because it had been my birthday, and I went down to the Game Crazy, which is another place that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
They were always attached to Hollywood Videos. That was my game place. That was where I loved hanging out.
Yeah.
So went down to Game Crazy, traded in all these different things, and I bought Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction.
And you love
And
it.
that game, that was the first open world game I ever played. So those are my two first Xbox games. I just remember when I got my Xbox from Toys R Us, I just remember opening that thing up and just being like, oh my gosh, this is the promised land.
Yeah.
Like this, it wasn't until like maybe like 9 months later they announced the 360.
Hey, it's funny how we have such
know?
similar stories because I got that in middle school. And going back, that was when I got that wasn't the controller's time. For the original Xbox story,
Yeah.
same deal. The Xbox 360 was about to be like out and stuff, and we just weren't. I wasn't like tuned in as I am with like online news and stuff now. And my dad actually had to like trick me into going. He was trying to like, I had graduated from 8th grade or something, and he was like trying to like surprise me. And he was like, "Hey, let's get something for your uncle. He really likes these old cars. Let's go down." I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to go." I was just like, I just want to stay home, play games and stuff. And he's like, "Well, you should come." And he kept bugging me. I was like, "I'll go." He just kept pressing it. And we get there and I find out he's like, would you pick out a couple of Xbox games? What Xbox games you like? And I knew. I was like, oh, he's buying me an original Xbox. Like, so I got Ninja Gaiden and I got Halo, the original Halo. And
Nice.
stuff.
Wow. Those are good games. to
Yeah.
pick.
So, because at that time too, I was really wanting an Xbox, and I was asking, I was like, man, because all that everybody was talking about was Halo 2.
Yeah.
Halo 2, or whatever. And I was like, I really want to play that. I really want to get the original and stuff. So that was cool.
Yeah, man, I get very nostalgic seeing those original Xboxes. There's the one with the top spin people on it, and then there's the one with like the college football game on the front with like I don't remember what team he played for, but I also get nostalgic seeing the old Xbox 360s too.
Yeah.
The old Xbox 360 boxes, the white with the with I don't even remember if that was where it had the green. I don't remember.
It was a green box with all that like light green, green circle and stuff. Like,
so I remember that pretty well too.
Yeah. So I want to talk real quick about like what happened to Toys R Us. Like, what was like kind of the dying days. So that one went out around like 06, 07 or whatever. Like around the recession, it definitely was gone. And I came to this one, but I never came back here. I'd come here and hang out with friends.
Yeah.
So I'd come here and like look at like they have really cool. And I'll put some footage in here of like the NECA stuff and like Kingdom Hearts, and they always had like Alien and all these movie tie-in kind of characters and stuff. And that stuff was cool, but like it all was so expensive. It was incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
Whereas like Amazon started to pop up, and I was buying more stuff from Amazon and pre-ordering from there because it was like I can get this free shipping. I don't have to go out and drive out because this store is like 25 minutes from where we're at and stuff. Like, why would I come here? The deals aren't good. And then, funny story, more recently, there was a deal. Toys R Us started doing, I think they started doing price matching, or I think it was like a price error. Something happened. And I had a friend that came here for like that Paper Mario on 3DS or something. It was like $5 or something happened. And he brought it to his Toys R Us. And we always quote this when I talk to him. I sent it to him the other day when they announced that Toys R Us is closing. They're closing all their U.S. stores. And he said he took it up to the counter. Was like, he scanned it. And was like, well, this is showing up at $5. Yeah, that's the deal. That was whatever online or something. That's too good of a deal. And he would not. That was the price that was in their system, and he would not sell it to my friend. Like it was either price match or whatever. Like they had to match it, and he refused to match it. So yeah, did not get that item. But yeah, I just don't ever come here because I can easily just ship stuff out.
Yeah.
And stuff's cheaper. So like.
Yeah.
But we were talking when we went in here, and you'll see footage of that like going around. But it's a bummer that our kids won't be able to experience
Yeah.
an entire building just designated for toys.
Yeah, there'll be specialty shops here and there.
Yeah.
You know, like we got a place called Johnny's Toys around here.
No, that's out of business.
Oh shit.
So no,
Well,
it's
there'll
gone.
be like those like nerd stores and stuff.
Yeah.
But like a chain like this of
Yeah.
this size, like Walmart size.
Yeah,
Never again.
it's never again. And that is such a bummer because like I got my one of my first bikes from Toys R Us. Like I said, my original Game Boy, and I have memories of like my aunt and uncle buying that, and like that didn't have a backlight on it. So being in the back seat of the car and waiting for like the
Yep.
lights to pop up so I could actually play. I'd have to pause it when lights weren't above or whatever.
Yep.
I heard some kids like would raise it up to where like the cars behind them, the lights.
My
would shine.
brother even got his Game Boy Advance from Toys R Us, and he also got a thing that slides on the front that you like
Yeah, that
slide it down, it
magnifies.
would magnify, and it also
The
had a light that would go
light,
down,
yeah.
so you could magnify the Game Boy Advance screen with the light. And
I also remember, I love this story. Me and my dad, he introduced me to Metal Gear Solid, and we played through that together. And I played as a very scared kid through some of that. But we got stuck at a part when in Metal Gear Solid you have to bang on the walls. Do you remember that? Where like
Yeah.
you have to get to Revolver Ocelot.
and you
have to
find how to get through, and
you have to find a hollow wall to blow up to get through to him. We didn't know what the frick was going on. Like we didn't know like that was what we had to do. Like we were kind of stuck. And we came here to Toys R Us. I remember coming to Toys R Us and we found like in one of EGMs or one of the game magazines looking at the tips and trick, or they had a walkthrough and they had that in there.
They had what to do.
Or it was a strategy guide, and then you'd read and go, that's what we have to do. And I remember telling my dad, like, oh, I know what to do now. We have to go, and it's on this wall, look, and showing him on the book and stuff, or, the strategy guide. But stuff like that,
Yeah.
vividly remembering games being, before it got to the PS2 days, it was kind of the wild, wild west. I don't even remember this. This might be too old for you. But before it got to the PS2 days, game prices weren't really set.
Yeah,
Like, PS2 days, it was 50, like, when it got to PS2, like, era, games were $50 usually.
I
Like,
remember
those weren't pretty set.
N64, things were all over the place.
Yeah, so N64, I vividly remember looking down at, like, they had this case with the games and stuff in it, Toys R Us, and seeing Banjo-Tooie for $79.99. And that, like, stuck with me, because I was like, that... Because I remember asking for it for my birthday or Christmas, because I was like, there's no way I can, like, afford this with, like...
Yeah.
Because around that time, I was, like, the first game I'd bought was, with my money, was Pokemon Stadium. And we went to Toys R Us, and, like, it was sold out everywhere, and I went to the Toys R Us and got it. But like, I was looking at that going, impossible. Like, I was just like, I cannot get this game. But it sucks that, like, we won't have that. Like, kids won't be able to walk through in stores and, like... It is, like, so convenient. They got freaking robots in Amazon's, like, stuff, like, getting your stuff. But it's like, man, it sucks that, like, you won't be able to run through, and, like, the bikes and where the bikes are at, and, like, seeing and holding an item before then. And you can go to Target, Walmart. Those will last for, those will still be around for the foreseeable future. But it's different than having, like, 2 aisles versus an entire store of, like, looking at the store and, like... so I will miss that. What do you guys think? Are you gonna miss some Toys R Us? What is the thing that you're gonna miss the most from Toys R Us?
I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna miss the Legos. I'm gonna miss walking down the aisle and seeing all the Legos.
That's true.
It was like we went in here. I had to think for a second because there's a lot of it you can get other places.
Yeah.
But
the Legos, the Lego
I
stuff
think
was.
that I'm gonna miss when we went in here. There was just like aisles and aisles of just Legos. And I was like, oh my gosh.
And they had cool
man.
displays.
Yeah,
And
I think that, and it's more than just the Legos, because, like, there's game sections at Target and stuff. The game section here was pretty much the same as that. I'm going to miss that of, like, just these big, long aisles dedicated to one thing as opposed to just one little spot. I also will kind of miss, like, how they said lots of random stuff in here.
Yeah.
And I joked with Zach, is you go and I encourage you, if you live near Toys R Us, go check it out, because it's not going to be around for long.
Go check it out.
But look at the aisles and look at the things hanging up, and you'll very quickly realize that, yes, all of what you reference is why they went under. But the other thing is that this is the throw everything at the wall and see what sticks approach to business.
Yeah.
They have aisles just full of crap that I'm like, I looked at the whole section. I was like, how many times a week does someone come in and buy one of these alien watches? You know what I mean? Or like one of these different things. And it's like, this probably isn't flying off the shelf in modern day, but they've got tons of inventory of it. And so I think I'll miss that just because it's wasteful. And so that's why we're going to see less and less of it.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of like it because you go in and you're just like, this is bananas, dude. They had a literal egg carton here. And then you open it up and it's got like the alien eggs in it. It was just sitting on a shelf. It was just sitting on a shelf. And it was like, why is this here? Why, you know, so I'll miss all of just the volume of it, but I'll also miss those just random things that you're not going to see at a Walmart. Like, you're not going to see that. And you might not know it exists because you might not seek that out on like an Amazon or something. Yeah. So
that is a thing of like, you're able to see like, what is this item? Let's pick that up, and stuff that you wouldn't know. Amazon will recommend stuff, but it's different to like turning a corner and going, what the frick is that? Especially as a kid, like looking up at these big aisles. And another thing, and I was watching another person talk about this on like YouTube. They changed their like layout of the store, because when I was a kid, it was just like bam, bam, like these big giant aisles you'd go down to. But like then they changed it around where like even here, like you have to go through that maze.
It's
to,
like a Bed Bath & Beyond
in.
style setup.
And I don't know why they did that. That kind of like, you know, that
they
was
stuck with
they could have stuck with all these big aisles, because it was like, whoa, this is like really something special. And like the game aisle was like a little bit wider and had all these glass displays. Like they had that in here, but
you could tell they've been hanging on a little bit too long. I mean, they had like advertisements for like Battlefront 1 up, and you know.
Yeah, they weren't really updating stuff.
They had Star Trek on PS3 for $19.99, and it was on a display. I was like, oh my gosh.
Great deals. I think that is the number one thing. I know they, I don't know if I mentioned in the video prior, but when they got bought out recently or saved from bankruptcy or something happened to them, they got fricked over because they had a lot of debts that they took on. Like that was out of their control, and that sucks. But the price, like they didn't have great deals, and then like this weird like the store crap is like they changed the store design, and it's like but one last thing I want to talk about, and I'll put video in it because they still do it with the bikes in here. Back then, if you wanted a game, you had to get this little card. It was like, it would show the game case, and you could actually turn the paper and see, like, sometimes they would scan, like, the game cover art on it, and it was in black and white ink that they print off some printer, and you could read about the game, and you could take that ticket up to the front counter, because like we said earlier, it was like $79.99 for some of these games.
And then they pull it out.
And then you go up to this little kiosk, and then you get your game. And that just was an extra little step of like special as a kid. Like, man, here's you got the card.
As a kid, seeing your game or your console that you want behind the glass, and being like, man, I want that. And then when they finally, that day comes where you have the money, your parents are going to help you out, and they do roll that glass back and they grab it out. Like, I remember it wasn't here, but it was at Walmart when I got my Game Boy Advance SP, and I had wanted one for like a year. Like, I wanted a Game Boy Advance SP so bad. And then they reached down in the glass and they were like, is the blue one okay? Because that's all they had left. I was like, yes, just give it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even care what color. I was like, give me the blue one. Like, whatever's down there, bring that out. That's what I want. And, you know, those days are gone.
You got the Xbox here. Did you get any other console? I remember I had a friend that was getting I didn't have the money for it, but he was getting the PS3. Those were sold out. Like, you couldn't get and in the story, like, when those were coming out, all these news stories were like, people were getting shot in the parking lot trying to get it. So I remember, like, driving around with him and being like, do you think we should, like, get the police to walk me out with the thing? But the thing was, he couldn't find, like, we came to this one, we came to, like, GameStops around, and he finally found one at a GameStop, and we ended up getting it. But, like, it was hard to find, like, at these product launches. But that's it for Toys R Us.
Peace out, Toys R Us. Probably outlived its usefulness.
Yeah.
Like, to be completely blunt, like, you know, it's time.
It was a specialty store.
Yes.
It was only focused highly on toys, and, like, another thing is, like, Mattel and Hasbro were hurting big time because of this. Now that they're seeing, like, and 33,000 people are losing their jobs, like, in the United States. That sucks. Yeah. I was even, when we passed these, like, two store people in here, there's two people working at the front desk. I was like, that sucks, because they, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, they're losing their job. But, I don't think you'll ever see, I think this is the last. Best Buy is specialty in, like, electronics. And I think they're doing okay because they're, like, competing. They're, like, doing price matching.
And they have an online presence.
For a while though, they were hurting, and then like people would come and like kind of showroom. They would kind of like use it as a showroom of like, I want this item, and then go buy it on Amazon. But they started price matching.
I think what you're
they're the
gonna
last
see,
they're the last specialty shop like that's doing big.
You're gonna start to see GameStop, because physical games are becoming more and more not really clear what their future is.
Yeah, GameStop too.
GameStop though has been bringing in more of like the pop toys and the different like
they make a lot of
nerd
money from
stuff.
that.
So
Yeah.
like it's a little bit of a higher age demographic. It's not just toys.
They also do
But-
classic games.
Yeah, are
trade-
they really?
Yeah, you can trade in classic games, and they're selling like NES, SNES.
GameStop
Yeah.
is? When did that
I don't know if
start?
in store, but online.
Oh,
You
I
can
didn't
like
know
buy
that.
and sell these used games and stuff.
So like, you know, we'll see their specialty store. We'll see, because they're smaller, they can get away with like smaller staff
Yeah.
and smaller inventory. I think GameStop does a better job too of not buying a ton of inventory of every
Yeah,
single thing. They
sure.
seem pretty and they know if a game's going to be a big game and it's going to
Sure,
sell
yeah.
a lot, and then they'll buy it. But
Sure, yeah.
yeah, these specialty stores, they're not
Yeah.
they're not across the board going to be long for this world probably. So another one. This is a pretty important one though.
Yeah. So don't be sad.
Sad.
Tell us if you got any crazy Toys R Us stories,
Yeah.
and then we're actually gonna get one final word. What do you think of the Toys R Us closing? I'm very sad. I think it's the saddest thing. I brought my little ducklings here, and I'll never bring